Hello, everyone. Welcome to the members and partners meeting of Build Up California. My name is Ericka Erickson, and I serve as the coordinator with Build Up California, which is a network of advocates for early care and education facilities around the state. And we have here our first members and partners meeting after the budget was approved, and we are here to take a look at what the wins we had, and then also to plan a little bit for the future and celebrate some of the great investments that we had. I want to start with some logistics. I will invite Carolina to share information about how we are going to do the interpretation today to Spanish. So, Carolina.
Buenas tardes. Abajo en su pantalla, en los iconos del Zoom, hay un botón que dice interpretación. Eso se activará una vez que yo deje de hablar. En ese momento, usted selecciona el botón de interpretación para escoger el idioma en que desea escuchar, inglés o español. After I stop talking now, you will see at the bottom of your screen in the Zoom icons a button that says interpreting. When you click on this button, you can select the language in which you want to hear this session. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolina. Thanks for being with us today. And thanks to all of you for being with us today. So I will share a little bit of my screen to share. Let me see, am I sharing the right screen? Do you see an agenda here? Okay, so first, we are doing the welcome here, and just to highlight that this is our first members and partner meeting after the budget was approved, and basically we are going to go over the ECE investments that are included in the state budget. You probably already heard that DSS, the Department of Social Service, already held a webinar about that. And your organizations in your network probably already talk about that, but we will go over that a little bit. And then we will have an update about the Child Care and Development Infrastructure Grant Program. Everybody's eager to hear what's going on with the program. We were able to get more investments into the program, and we will talk about that in a little bit, but we will have Najira and Esmeralda here with us from the Department of Social Service to share how are these grants being managed and updates regarding timelines and etc. And then, as we like to celebrate the wins, we are grateful for all the lessons learned that we had along the way, advocating for investments in EC as part of the state budget. We are going to recognize and honor some champions of advocacy efforts that are here with us today. And you will hear from them a little bit about lessons learned, and then their organizations, so you can not only join us in celebrating them, but also join their efforts for the upcoming year, because as we know, is an ongoing struggle in terms of having the state and policymakers understand the importance of early care and education and make continued investments in this field. So it's an opportunity for you to know that. And if you don't know that yet, many of them are very famous. And then if you don't know them, you would know about their organizations, and then you can join their efforts. And if you already know them, to really be inspired by their example today. We know that this field is of early care and education. Our field doesn't receive the investments that we deserve, and that our children deserve, our families deserve, our providers deserve. but when we have some wins, we have to celebrate, right? The small steps that we make along the way in this journey for achieving social justice and equity in our field. And that includes the right compensation for our early care and education providers. And so with that, I'm going to jump right in the overview of ECE. We only have 1 hour together. We want to make sure that we have time for everything. So let me pass here. And so early care and education in the 22-23 state budget, what do we have? And I want to celebrate with you the fact that this year, in part because of the efforts of parent voices, we have another year of family fee that's waived, right? The copay, I would say copay, that the families have to contribute to the cost of care. So the family fees are waived until June 30, 2023. So that's a big win. Paulo, where's the claps? Where are the claps? Where are claps? Applause, applause, applause. Yay! Okay. It's hard to. So yay! So definitely it's a big win, and like just to remind ourselves for the ones that have been in the field for a long time, we know that this is like we had many years that we had cuts, right? And then now to have these investments, it's a pretty good accomplishment. Could be better, but we have to celebrate. So another investment is the reimbursement rate change. Of course, we need to have a comprehensive reimbursement rate reform. We need to have higher payment for providers, but this year we got a super COLA, the cost of living adjustment of 6.56%. And then because of this COLA, rates will be reassessed. And also, not only we had the COLA, but we had supplemental payments, right? That some members, the Ericka, when from the union, they can share more with us, but there are many providers that are receiving $10,000, $7,000, and others that are in addition to their contract, to their reimbursement rate. So this is also a reason to celebrate, and then so applause to that too, and super happy to feel. And the work continues to improve the reimbursement rate, and this will be the focus of our field, should be the focus of our field in this upcoming year. Another big accomplishment that shows the power of unions in our field and beyond, right, is the creation of healthcare benefit trusts and these investments that you see on the screen. That's $100 million for the trust, the healthcare trust, and then also the retirement benefit trust. And this is definitely like unprecedented investment that can inspire many other states to do the same. So definitely something to celebrate. Also, as we had because of COVID, we had a change in the ways that providers are paid, right? Before we had providers paid by the attendance of the kids. And then because of COVID, not fair to have that rule anymore. So we changed, and it's called the hold harmless extension, or the extension. We had a whole extension of the hold harmless provision. And then therefore, the providers will have an additional year that they will receive their payments based on the contract, not on the maximum reimbursement in terms of the voucher base, but also based on 100% of the contract maximum reimbursement amount for center base. And this is also a great win. And who knows, maybe we could have that being established as the new way we pay providers. That would be great. But let's celebrate what we have for this year, and applause for that too. Paulo?
Bravo, bravo.
Oh, yay. And then we had in the years prior, we had 200,000 slots being planned for the upcoming years. I think it's believed 3 to 5 years that they will be created as part of the budget. So these are the numbers behind the dollar amount behind this plan. And that is an investment also that's contributed to that increase of 200,000 spaces, new spaces for children in our subsidized system. So that's another reason to celebrate. Applause to that. Well, applause, Paula. Okay, another big investment is the 35 million in ongoing. That's a big word in our field because a lot of this investment is a one time, and here we go trying to advocate for it again. And then so it's great when we see ongoing investments, right? So ongoing investments for the general fund to support and expand access to the Build Bridge program, and it's for foster kids. And so this is super important program, and this is a great investment that we also have to celebrate. So.
Bravo.
And then we are more in terms of the infrastructure of the system. We have the capacity grants to support the AP programs, the alternative payments, so the voucher side of our system. And then this will help them to better manage the system. So that's good to celebrate too. And applause for that. Also, we have a great investment in the California R&R program, right, in general, including one additional investment in a program that's dear to my heart, that is the CCIP, the CIP, the Childcare Initiative project that nurtured new providers in the field, right? So we have 25 million for the ARPA funds. We have 10 million for the California Resource and Referral Program. So that's another reason to celebrate. Applause to that too. And then last but not least, and actually not least at all, you know, Build Up California is about facilities, is the built environment, is the physical infrastructure of your space or the provider's space. And this is unprecedented. California is a leader in this field, in this type of investment. There is no other state that has been making these investments in facilities. People are contacting us from all over the country to know how we did and then to do the same or something similar. And we are seeing more investments popping up everywhere. So one, we had in 21-22, we were able to recover the cuts, the funds from the cuts that were made because of COVID, and 250 million was invested in the Childcare and Development Infrastructure Grant Program, including 150 million from the general fund for new construction and major renovation. This RFA, the request for applications, was not released yet. It's going to be released later this year. And then 100 million from federal funds, the ARPA funds, for minor repair renovations. This application was out. It's already closed, the application period. Many of you applied, and we are going to get an update from Nigeria and Esmeralda about these funds. And also this year, we got an additional 100.5 million for the minor renovation and repairs of childcare facilities. So there's 100.5 million will be added to the 100 million, so we can, as I said, fund more providers to improve their environments, their learning environments. So this is a total historic investment of, so far, more to come, $350.5 million. So big round of applause for that. And thanks for all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that worked with us on that. Just to a little background about what happened. In the beginning of the year, we were advocating for 300 million additional investments in this program. We got 100 million, it's fine. We are very grateful, but we have the needs. The need is so great. And we got only for the repair renovation grant program, we got over 5,200 applications with a total of a request of $400 million for us to repair and renovate our facilities and create great environments for learning. So we have a long way to go, right? But we are grateful for the 105.5 million. And we are looking forward to working with GSS to make sure that these funds are distributed in an equitable way. I want to thank all the partners, co-signers of our efforts. These are some of them. The logos are here, but there are many others that are not here on the screen. I just want to take a moment to thank all of you and all your efforts when you sign on our letters, when you spoke at public meetings, especially the members of the ECE Coalition, our fellow members of the ECE Coalition. It was it's always a hard year, but this year, like a budget cycle, right? But this year was like really hard. And so I want to thank everyone and applaud your efforts for joining us in this campaign and getting this money. Yes. So we also had requests for another pot of fund that was $10 million for to promote the co-location of childcare and early learning facilities with affordable housing. We didn't get that fund. It's not okay, but it's okay. Like we lessons learned. We did our first, we implement our first efforts. We are capturing the lessons learned, and we are going to move forward and ask even for more funds or another type of investment that would really support providers and affordable housing developers around the state to make sure that it's easier to build childcare with affordable housing. So also thank to all the partners for that investment and of time and efforts to make sure that we move forward in this campaign, and the campaign continues, but definitely it's something that we are also grateful for all the efforts. So another round of applause for that effort. And okay, we found out with all the applause and all the things, good things that we accomplished in this budget. I want to pass and highlight the some of our guest speakers today. And I want to ask you all to mute yourselves if you're not planning to speak. But I want to ask Najira and Esmeralda to now join us, and we will spotlight them as our speakers, and they will share with us some updates about the infrastructure grant program. And I see that Najira, Esmeralda is having technical problems, or
seems like
okay?
No, I'm fine. Should be
Esmeralda. Yay.
Oh, there she
Okay.
is.
Okay, so let's spotlight then. Oh, here they are spotlighted already. And then Esmeralda. Yay. Okay. So it's with you. And we will have a brief overview from them. And then we will have like probably time for like 5 questions. So if you have other questions too, if you have questions, please put in the chat. And then we will see what's the theme of the questions. And they will answer some of your questions during their presentation. but in the end, we will not have time to answer all the questions, right? So we are going to choose 5 maximum, so then to answer, and then we will share with them all the questions that were shared, and then hopefully we will share with you in a follow-up email the answers to that. So with no further ado, Nadira and Esmeralda, it's with you.
Good afternoon. We'll introduce ourselves quickly, and then we'll go into a little bit of the update. So first I want to say Lupe Jaime Milam, who is our Deputy Director, could not be here today, and she really wanted to be here, so she thanks you for the invite. And we are representing on behalf of the Childcare and Development Division. So my name is Nadira Jones. I'm the Education Administrator for the Learning Innovation and Improvement Office in the new Childcare and Development Division, which has been in operation for a year now. So that's exciting news as well. So although the infrastructure grant projects, it really is a collaboration amongst a lot of our offices. Part of the administration and support to the program live in my office, in our office, Learning Innovation and Improvement Office. And so I will now let Esmeralda introduce herself and what she, how she supports the program as well.
Hi, everybody. Love the applauses, by the way. So happy. I work under Nadira. She's my direct supervisor, and I am the project manager for the infrastructure grant program. And it's gonna be for the minor and the major when, of course, when that is released. And basically, I'm the liaison between CDSS and the contractor, the Low Income Investment Fund. And right now we're just excited that we're moving through the process of all the applications we received, and we're ready to provide you some updates. Thank you.
And Esmeralda has been, she's not new to state services, but she's new to child care and development, and she's excellent. She's been a tremendous support in this work. As you can imagine, Ericka, you actually presented very well on what's happening in the recent investments and the historical investments. So as you know, you guys have probably heard this time and time again, we received more applications than we ever thought we would receive, you know. So we, yes, welcome to the field, Esmeralda. But we received over 5,000 applications for this first round of grant. And that is just really tells the story and the need, right? We're really hearing from the field that there is an absolute need for this type of funding. So to that end, you know, we are partnering with LIFT we've now completed the reading and scoring of the application, which took months, right? So now what is happening is on a rolling basis, I think we started June 28th, we started to notify applicants of their awards. And that will continue to happen up until we're looking at probably early September, right? Until all the awards have been sent out. So that is where we are right now in terms of letting everybody know who's been awarded. What will happen then, and Esmeralda can talk to this, is once applicants get awarded, there's a process, right? So you get a grant award agreement, and there's a process of documents that need to be completed in order for a complete package to move forward. We recently, we're working on FAQs as we get more questions, and we're going to be sharing these FAQs to our applicants soon. We're phasing, like as we're phasing the awards out, we're also answering questions as they come. And as you can imagine, we're getting a lot of questions, but we will be sending more FAQs out as we're learning more. We also have, just so you all know, we have a website on DSS, on the DSS website, with information about the current grant and information about the upcoming grant. I see a question about how many awards are being made. We don't have that total number at this time because we're still, we just don't have the count yet. Once all the grants have been sent out and we have like the final list of grantees, that will be posted and publicly available on the DSS website. So that should be determined. We always want to be transparent about our funding. And those of you that have had contracts and grants with us before, even at CDE, know that we'll post like a funding or a proposed funding list. So that is what we plan to do as well for the infrastructure grant program. I'm going to stop to see if Esmeralda want to add anything to kind of like where we are right now in the phase of the applications.
Thank you, Nadira. As Nadira mentioned, we started sending out the first award notices. They're going to be going out on a rolling basis, of course, and we started on June 28th, and it's going to go through September the 9th. That's what we have right now. And again, it's extremely important that you continue to monitor your email. You'll be getting notifications you'll be getting notifications from Submittable, which is where the applicant submitted their application. That's where the information is going to come from. And we are using a system that's called Right Signature. So the packet will go through that system. Once those that get the award notification, they need to make sure that they review that agreement. If there are any errors, let us know. In the form that is attached that we need back, and it needs to be filled out completely, all sections, is the data payee record, is form STD 204. It's extremely important that you pay, that those that haven't received and are still waiting, that you pay attention to those things. Make sure that you fill out every section, check whatever box is applied to you, make sure you provide all the information, because that will allow us to move forward with your packets through the next steps, which is licensing checks. If there are any questions on why are we doing licensing checks, I will refer you to the request for application document. CDSS has to conduct their internal checks. That's also part of our process. So once we get that packet, it goes through that process, and we just, if everything is good, we just move it forward to payment. Other than that, just check your email, make sure everything is updated. If you made email changes, just notify us somehow, because the notices will go to the email on your account when you submitted your application. I see some questions in Spanish, and I do want to answer those.
And before you answer those, I just want to piggyback, and you can add this in Spanish too, is just to piggyback on what Esmeralda said about making sure the documents are completed. So that will delay like your packet to be completed. So for example, there is a form that has to be filled out, and it has to be filled out completely. And so we've had to return those and ask for those again. So just really want to just reiterate how important it is to make sure you have a complete package so that it won't delay anything. There are so many internal checks that have to happen before a check actually gets mailed out. So we're anticipating, and I see that that we're anticipating once you have a completed package, I mean, it's all ready to go, it's been checked, it's ready to move forward. It could take minimally up to 120 to 150 days for you to receive your check. But remember, this is minor renovations and repairs. So a lot of this is purchases, minor renovations and repairs. So this is not the major where it could take a lot more time to get your projects completed. So just wanted to add that. Go ahead, Esmeralda, and read those questions.
So I see a few questions in Spanish. Most of them are asking, when can I apply? The application window for the minor renovation was closed on March 25th. The grants funds that we have, the grant funding that we have is gonna be for those applicants. The application is not gonna reopen again, not for minor renovation. The next request for application is gonna be for the new and major renovation, but that we still don't know what the eligibility requirements are gonna be, so we can't really speak much on that. But once it's released, if you believe you're eligible, again, we encourage you to apply. But for now, the minor renovation is not gonna reopen again.
Yes, so that next iteration for facilities will be in the new construction major, which we are anticipating to release late summer, early fall. That's what we're estimating at this time. So there will be another opportunity for a facilities type grant, but not the minor renovation and repair.
Can I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
So it looks like after once you're approved, the minor renovation grant, it can take up to 150 days for the check to be mailed. So I was calculating that from the day you are paying, if the check comes to you in November or suppose December, that means it will be added to your income this year. 1099 will be mailed this year, but your expense won't show till next year. That means it will have a major implication for the tax. So is it possible, like under that kind of scenario, that either you give it in January, so we spend it the year we're showing it as income? I mean, do you see what I'm trying to say? That 75K will be added to your income this year, but you're showing expense next year. So there is a disbalance, and it is going to have a major impact on taxes.
We can certainly, I was going to say, we can certainly take your comment back, and thank you for that comment. And we could take it back to our team, just because feedback has been extremely helpful. Unfortunately, you know, we can't give tax advice, but we can certainly take back any type of concerns or questions, and we will make sure we capture that. I'm sorry, Esmeralda, if I cut you off.
No problem.
Yeah,
I just wanted to add to that is that you have to keep in, unfortunately, there are, we have to meet certain deadlines. There is 112 million that need to be obligated by a certain date. And we have what makes, that could expedite the process of, you know, how fast your packet, someone's packet moves, is having all the information when we get the packet. Because it takes us time to review, but if we're missing information, just keep in mind is 4,000 plus applications or award packets that that one person is going to be reviewing. So if you have all your information, that is very helpful with the timelines.
Totally, I totally understand. So see, couple of us got approval on 28th of June itself, but we haven't received the check yet. We are being told that 120 to 150 days. So my only concern is, I understand you're following your timeline, but it might be hard for a provider like us. We receive a check in November. We cannot spend that money in a month's time. We need time to spend it and show it in our taxes. So I would appreciate if you could just take into consideration, or at least give the provider, do you want us to mail a check in December, or do you want us to mail a check in January? That kind of flexibility can be provided. That'd be wonderful.
We certainly will take that back. We cannot promise anything because the state has their way of disseminating funds, but we will certainly take that back. Thank you so much. I did see, Ericka, is it okay if we start to look at questions, or did you want us to?
Yeah, go ahead, Eric. I see that you are, you're taking a look at the questions. So one more question, because we are already at 1:35, and we want to highlight and honor the advocates that work so hard during this budget year. But if we can take one more question and we'll be fine. And again, the state is, as you said, Nigeria is doing an FAQs, like for frequent ask questions, like documents. So they have been doing a great job in disseminating this. It's on their website, and then definitely the questions that are not answered today, we will make sure that the DSS receives it, so they can include that there.
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
she's the one that said that she was
Yeah,
going to do some
can
stuff.
everybody mute yourselves if
Sure,
you're
go
not
ahead.
speaking? Here you go, I did it. Okay.
Please send us any feedback, Ericka, that you receive or questions, because we're
We will.
collecting them. Like you said, it is normal to have a lot of questions. This is new. This is a new program, a historic investment that we in the field have been, you have your advocates, we've been advocating for this. So it is normal to have lots of questions. And we were doing our best to capture those and disseminate those. And in the FAQs, we do talk about how funds will be, how funds will look when they come, how you'll be notified. And we'll be sending out those FAQs out. So please look out for that. Trying to see if there's anything else on here. Programs and providers.
Let's hear from Elizabeth. She raised her hand, and then Elizabeth, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. I just want to thank everybody for this opportunity. And I received and I already signed my paperwork, and I just want to second on that. If you guys can take the advice, like probably the funds be dispersed in January, because if they're reimbursed in November, it's going to be a lot of taxes that we have to pay on that amount. So just a second on that, another guest, if you can take that back to the table, and probably for the funds to be made available in January instead of November.
Thank you again for that suggestion.
So we will have to move on. Hilda, I will let you, can we have you speak, and then you will be, Hilda, did you disappear?
And Ericka, we could put our facilities email address in
please
the chat.
Do. Yeah.
So if there are other questions.
Okay. Great. So Nigeria and Esmeralda, thanks for your work. Paulo, applause to them.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. Have a good day.
Thank you. Paulo, where the applause for that? Paulo's missing action. Okay. Thank you so much, Nigeria and Esmeralda. And now we are going to remove the spotlight on you. And then we are going to now move to the new, to another segment of our program today. That's to honor it's a representation, right? I know there are many more, but we are honoring some of the champions for all these wins and the advancement of campaigns in our field. Some of you that work so hard, mobilizing others, and basically you're seeing them on the spotlight here. And I want to honor, and they represent organizations, right, that are part of our social infrastructure in our field that are so important for all this change to happen. It only happens in collaboration. So the leaders here on the screen and the spotlight, they are representing this collaboration that happens in their organizations and beyond, right? Among organizations. So I want to first thank you all. I want to let everybody know that they got a recognition star. Did you get, all of you got the recognition star? And I hear,
Bravo! Thank you.
thank you. And it's a little token of appreciation that you can look and remember that you have the power within, and that your work and your advocacy and your energy and your light made this change happen. So this little star is like a little reminder. And I want to first invite, so they're going to basically speak here about their organizations, and then a little bit about their win, and then what's the plan for next year, maybe if you have already, how people can contact you, and then one lesson learned from this year in advocacy, so we all can learn with you. So we have 20 minutes to go in our program, so let's keep in 2 minutes each. Would be great. So I want to start recognizing parent voices. Parent voices all organizations are dear to my heart, but parent voices, that's where I started in terms of the going to Sacramento and in the Stand for Children Day, in the blue wave of shirts in Sacramento. That's where I really got the passion for childcare, especially after my daughter was born. And that is definitely when I felt like, oh, that's what they're talking about. And that's why it's so important. So I want to ask Blake to share with us a little bit about the campaign this year, what you're looking for next year, and one lesson that you learned this year.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you, Ericka, and thank you to LIF and Build Up for inviting us to speak and for your support and partnership over the years. So Ericka mentioned this earlier during the earlier half of the presentation, but our win this year was getting family fees waived for next fiscal year, right? We know that family fees are super burdensome. For some families, that involves paying $550 a month for, you know, I always put subsidized childcare in quotations because how subsidized is $550 a month. I think a bit, maybe not so much a lesson learned, but a lesson solidified from this campaign was that parents have the solutions, right? Like we got involved with this campaign to waive family fees 3 years ago when our parent leaders from our steering committee, composed of 12 different chapters around the state, came together and said, this is something we need to do, right? Family fees are burdensome. We don't want to pay them. We shouldn't have to pay them. We don't pay for kindergarten. We take that for granted, but why is it that the state is only subsidizing a portion of our childcare costs? Why don't they just do all of it? It doesn't make sense, right? So they developed that solution. It wasn't a bunch of staff members saying, oh, hey, we think we know what's best to serve parents. So that, again, not so much a lesson learned, but a lesson solidified by this campaign. Kind of like the logistics of the campaign, we pursued different strategies at the same time, right? We had our legislative strategy. Ericka pulled up on the screen AB 92, which even though AB 92 right now, it's not, to this day, it hasn't passed, right? So at the same time, we had to kind of pursue a budget strategy and we were able to get those family fees waived for the next fiscal year in the governor's budget. And I think sort of a lesson learned there was being strategic with our talking points, right? Not being bound to our talking points as they were from the beginning, but as there was kind of some political steam around the tax credits, right? And the tax credit expansion in California, we were able to pivot and have our parent leaders, when they're testifying at hearings and meeting with elected officials, meeting with members from the governor's office, saying, we love the tax credit, right? The tax credit is great, but please know that that tax credit goes right back out the door and then some when we still have a $400, $500, $550 family fee that we have to pay every month, right? So the benefit of that tax credit is really minimized or completely taken away if we're not also waiving family fees for working parents who have childcare. So I know we have a lot of other great people here on the panel today, so I'll cap my comments there, but I can definitely put my email address in the chat. If anyone's interested in learning more about Parent Voices or talking more about how to support the Family Fees campaign, since we're gonna have to fight this fight again this year. It's only one more year of family fees being waived. So, but again, thanks so much to Build Up California and LIF for having us here to talk a little bit more about this campaign.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Blake. And thanks again for all the parent members, all the fellow parent members of Parent Voices. You definitely make a difference. And you can definitely see like when the blue shirts come in the hallways of the Capitol, it's because the power is coming in the offices, and it's great to see that. And another color that is changing the landscape of the decisions of in the Capitol is yellow. That's the yellow shirts of the union, the new union that we have, the childcare providers united. And I cannot state enough how happy I am that we finally have a union for childcare here in California. And here representing these efforts that they got these great wins. That's like, come on, healthcare and retirement, that's amazing. And Miren and Jessica, if you can speak a little bit about, again, the lesson that you learned, what you're doing, and then also what's perhaps, if you already have your priorities for the upcoming year, would be great. So let's start with Miren. Miren, why don't you share some highlights of your campaign and plans?
Good afternoon. It's always a pleasure to be here with Build Up California, but when it's to celebrate, it adds to the excitement. It truly is historic. Having a union, as Ericka just mentioned, is such a big win. As many of you know, it took over 20 years to get where we are today. So big reasons to celebrate. The $289 million on supplemental pay for providers. It's another victory that, we could, spend hours talking about. But when it comes to healthcare and when it comes to retirement, we understand that healthcare is a human right. And so this is huge. And the amount, the investment, $100 million, again, it's historic. We are thrilled. It has not been easy. It has not been easy, and I cannot encapsulate how hard and how strenuous it's been. But to be here today and to celebrate together and to know that family childcare providers across California are going to have their healthcare needs met is huge. It really means a lot to us as family childcare providers. It means a lot to me personally, because I have many friends and many colleagues that were really, really looking forward to it. So it's a huge win. And when it comes to a lesson learned, as Blake said, it really isn't about one lesson learned. It's about how we move forward. But what we have learned is that collective voices move mountains. So healthcare and retirement are two things that seem impossible for a union like CCPU to accomplish. And so we're making history. And that is because we had thousands of members turning up outside the Capitol. We're here today because you all made phone calls, because you supported by sending out emails, and by not asking for these things, not asking for healthcare and not asking for retirement, but demanding them. We learned that when you know your worth and you come together, no one and nothing can stop people from winning what they need. So to summarize, the lesson that I have learned is that when you're determined, when you organize, when you have the support of your allies, and you have the proper structure to address the issues that are affecting you, you become unstoppable. Thank you.
Hey, Paula. Jessica.
Hola, buenas tardes, ¿cómo están?
Bien.
Bienvenidos. Gracias. Yay. A que no esperaban que hablara español. Ah. Well, I am so happy to be here today, giving you my experience in this win, right? Health and retirement plan. I'm sitting on both YMCAs. We work very hard, like Miren mentioned it. I've been with the union for 20 years since we started the movement. And one lesson that I want to tell you that I have learned over years is to be patient. Is to be patient. Is to be persistent. to get united, right? What I learned is that when we get together and we all have one vision to where we want to go, amazing thing happens, right? Like the retirement plan and the health plan and the supplemental plan and all the benefits that we have been obtaining through these 3 past years since we got our contract signed with the governor. So what I'm gonna tell everybody is that it doesn't matter how hard it looks or how hard it is to keep trying, to keep moving forward, to trust us when we ask you to make phone calls, when we ask you to send emails, when we ask you, we need you at the Capitol, when we ask you to do videos, right? Why? Because united, we make the difference. United, our voices are here, right? We may be in different parts of the state of California and even in the nation, but most of family childcare providers have the same issues. And that's what connects us, the issues that we are all facing. And yes, sometimes it's going to be very hard and very tiring, but don't give up, keep going. I've been giving 20 years of my life and sacrificing a lot of time, you know, for the union, for a dream that I had when they came and told me this is what we're working for. So thanks to Rosie Kennedy and to John Wilson that started this movement, we are here today. And 3 years ago, we got our contract signed. And now we're moving forward to get the money that we're gonna put into these DMCs, right? And so now for the future, we have to wait to see how is that gonna be distributed. And we're going to see, this is what I'm waiting for. I want to see how many providers are gonna get benefits that they don't have to travel to Mexico or any other country to get the help. Right, Elida? You just went to Mexico about a week ago. So this is what I'm waiting for, you know, to see how all family childcare providers are gonna get benefits. So thank you so much, guys, and keep moving forward with us.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And it has been a pleasure to work closely with you and Miden and Beno and Elida and Courtney. And it's amazing to see like your passion and your energy. So I'm super grateful to be in the same fight with you. So thank you so much. Now I want to highlight the work of the YMCA of San Diego and Courtney B, like I call her. It's like, because we have 2 Courtneys in the, we have 2 Courtneys that we usually work with, and I always call her Courtney B. But Courtney has been a leader in the fight for investments and changes that make co-location of affordable housing and childcare happen. So I want to invite her to share a little bit about her work, and then also one lesson learned from this campaign this year. And if you'd like to get involved in the campaign, also you can contact her for this upcoming year so we can get some wins at the state level. Courtney?
Thanks so much, Erica, and thanks to everybody on the back end making this webinar possible. Really appreciate Build Up California and LIFT's partnership. And this year we did have the unique opportunity to collaborate in a really intentional way and really innovate how we bring 2 typically siloed worlds together, and that is housing and childcare. So thanks so much for the opportunity to celebrate with everyone today. As Erica mentioned, my name is Courtney Baltiski, and I work with the YMCA of San Diego County and our childcare resource service doing our advocacy and strategic partnership work, but I'm also blessed and privileged to help co-facilitate what we call the Children First Collective of San Diego. And this is a local advocacy group and thrilled to have Blake, Parent Voices, Marin, and CCPU, who are working group members of this entity. But this is our local advocacy hustle to address 6 specific issues across San Diego and how we can expand access to quality, affordable childcare. One of the buckets of work that we've committed to is expanding access in facilities across our mixed use system. So we do a lot of intentional work with partners like Mission Driven Finance, who are on this call, to support family childcare providers. But when it comes to expanding both family childcare units and childcare centers in our affordable housing developments, in our transit-oriented developments, we really wanted to stage a campaign to see what we could do on the state level this year. So in leveraging the Children First Collective and then working intentionally with Ericka and team at Build Up California, we were able to cultivate a vision for what that could look like at the state in a report from HCD to really assess policy recommendations, funding recommendations for that co-location. And then we attempted to get some pilot funding for friends in Fresno and San Diego. But this is our first time out the gate with this ask. Some wins to this. We were able to cultivate a champion in our San Diego Assembly member, Chris Ward, who continues to be enthusiastic about this idea. And in working across legislative offices, we only heard enthusiasm and support for this concept. We didn't quite make it through the budget process, but we laid really intentional runway and groundwork to come back next year with this ask. One thing that we learned is that San Diego as a region is still really ripe to do a lot of this co-location conversation and work locally. So through the Children First Collective, as we were working through this statewide advocacy, we started to do more intentional local advocacy and actually initiated a scheduled monthly conversation between the Children First Collective, San Diego Housing Federation, our government offices, and our local developers. And we've created a toolkit and resources for developers and our municipal governments to try to make it easier for them to understand the licensing requirements so that as these bids are drafted or NOFAs are drafted for housing developments, that they know what to include for childcare. So to have that local work happen on co-location. So the housing sector was a real rabbit hole of learning for me. I continue to learn more from partners every day, but it's been thrilling. Another great learning is to have fun and bring joy and energy to this work because it's not easy, but together we're getting further faster, and just appreciate everybody on this call today. Thank you.
Thank you. And now to close our program, we are going to hear and thank Benu and Elida for their work on being champions for the investment infrastructure. And I want to invite Benu to speak first, and then Elida, and then we will close. I know that we are running out of time. And so if you have to leave, I want to thank you for being with us. We will send a follow-up email with all this, the materials and also feedback form. But Benu.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Honored. Thank you, Build Up California. Thank you, Ericka. I would also like to say thank you to CDSS for recognizing us provider and seeing the need that what we need for, and offering all these grants to us. I also want to say a big thank you to the Childcare Changemakers community for bringing us together during the time which we needed the technical support. And Michelle, thank you for emailing. We did over 1,000 people emailing, and all the videos that was recorded, the slides that were given to the providers. So Jessica here, Alida here, Michelle, thank you for all you do. And remember, we all are childcare change makers. The challenge we noticed was the tech part, right? We had, people started talking, and we got together. And we think what we need is a technical support in different languages. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Benu. Benu and Elida are representing Childcare Changemakers. So Elida.
Thank you, everyone. My name is Elida Cruz, and I'm in Central California, and I'm honored to be here. Thank you so much for your invitation. I want to point out, I want to second everything that Benu said. I second that. And I also want to mention that we want to thank Changemakers for all their support they've given us within this last year. We've learned that throughout social media, we have been helping a lot of providers in our world. And to show with these videos, they made one with me and in regards to what happens in the home daycare. They went through the whole routine, and then they went to Benu and they worked with her parents and asked their parents how much is that they need us providers to help them elaborate in their lives. So within the social media and sharing the information from us to the whole community, to the whole nation, makes them rethink and say, hey, wait a minute. We're not helping these ladies as much as they need. And so we're bringing our necessities up to the table. And a lot of us, including myself, we are visual learners. And how do we learn and how do we pick up the ideas of the providing us with help? I think social media has been helping us a lot, and Changemakers has made a big effort in helping us. So thank you so much. Thank you, Ericka, for supporting us also with the information. And together we will get further and reach the unthinkable, you guys. So thank you so much, and let's go keep moving forward. Thank you.
So with that, I will close the program for today. Muchas gracias. Thank you, obrigada, for all of that you do. And we hope that we have all of you again in this new cycle after vacation, right? In a new cycle of the budget and the legislative process to get even more wins for our field. So thank you especially to our providers. And thank you, and we will see you at the next event. So thank you, Pamela, thank you, Paulo, for all their efforts, and have a great rest of the day.